In today's episode, I want to talk about 7 things that you could be charging for as a photographer or as a videographer, as a creative professional that you're probably giving away for free right now. Let's dive in. Are you tired of the endless stream of fantasy marketing and vanity metrics? Yeah, so am I. My name is James Patrick, and I'm an internationally published photographer, media specialist, and marketing strategist. As a creative entrepreneur, I face the same exact frustrations you have, being bombarded by generic advice that promises success but never lives up to the hype. We need to move beyond the posturing, beyond the facade, beyond the image to navigate the unique challenges we face as creatives. Together, we're going to dive into real stories, real strategies, and the real work that can lead to the real results. This is the Beyond the Image podcast. What is going on? And thank you so much for tuning into this or last episode of the Beyond the Image podcast. I'm honored that you could take some time to get some information and get a little inspiration to help you in your creative entrepreneurial journey. So, in looking at my contracts over the last few months, we were looking for ways not only to save ourselves time and energy, but also ways that we could increase our client lifetime value by starting to charge for things that we may have been giving away for free. And some of these are things that I've already made that change and started charging for, and some things that we will be making the change and start charging for. And these are things that, as someone pointed out in my comments section when I posted about this on Instagram, they said, well, good luck collecting on all these things. And my response is, that's not the point. The point is not to collect on all these things. These are value added services. Every single one of these is a value added service that you can sell to a client, but they are optional. The goal is not to collect on all of them, but if a client wants one or two or all 7, hey, great. If they say no to all of them, you just saved yourself a tremendous amount of time and energy doing work that you should be getting paid for. And if they say yes to any of them, you're now being compensated for your time. So let's dive in. 7 things that you could be charging for that you may be giving away for free. The first is digital storage and file archiving. Now, this is something that we inherently think we should be doing, but why should we be doing it forever? Why are we required to be the storage facility for a client's files without charging for them? I mean, once a project is over, why are you required to maintain those files in perpetuity forever? That's a lot to ask, especially with storage becoming so exponentially expensive right now. So, an idea is that you are agreeing after the project is completed to store files for 6 months or even a year. And after that, you could then charge clients a storage fee, whether it's physical storage, like we do physical storage for our clients' files, or you're charging cloud storage. I mean, you're paying for this, but the more work you take on over your career, the more storage you're going to have to purchase. And it's a never ending cycle of having to purchase storage to archive assets that aren't even assets that you might necessarily want. There's no reason that you should foot 100% of the bill for that. So you can charge a fee, an annual fee for you to store a client's files should they ever want to revisit them. And if they say no, that saves you money on storage. That saves you time getting it into storage. Or a spinoff of that, let's just call this a bonus one, is you could charge a retrieval fee. If you are storing assets for years and years and years and years, and a client wants to come back and get those assets, well, that's going to take a lot of time and energy to then download all those assets and re-upload those when the client should have downloaded them the first time you provided them. So you can do a retrieval fee. And these aren't like big money makers, but what it's doing is these are helping to offset some of the costs that we have as photographers that clients may not think about, number one. And number two is it frees you up the time and or the cost of having to store these items should you not actually need to, if the client doesn't actually want them. Okay, number two is a rush delivery. And this one comes up all the time. So it's something that you could put into your contracts right now. Meaning when a client signs a contract with you, you have a anticipated window of deliverability for the products. Like proofs are turned around within 72 hours. After selections are made, we take 14 days, 10 business days to turn around edits. You can have those expectations. And then rush delivery fees are priced at X amount. So when a client says, hey, is there any chance we can get these within 48 hours? Absolutely. 48 hours instead of 2 weeks, no problem. If you look at the contract, this is the rate for us to do a fast turnaround or a rush delivery. Charge for it. Why should clients be prioritized over other clients who booked you earlier? Well, the only answer is because they paid to be prioritized. And there you go. Number 3 is location scouting and even hunting for locations. Think of it like pre-production planning. A lot of time and energy goes into planning for a photo shoot. So, for example, I have a shoot coming up it's out of state, it's in Northern California, and I'm not going out to do a pre-production scout of this location. So I'm working with them remotely to plan out this photo shoot. Whereas I'm doing almost an identical project here in my state, and I'm spending some time, half a day, to go out to the location, scout the location, and plan out that shoot. Now, because I'm doing that work, I'm physically going out there, I'm spending that time to storyboard out all this stuff. Well, that's a line item in our proposal. And what this does is it helps improve the efficacy of a project. It improves the efficiency of the work. It improves the quality of the work. It is in the client's best interest that we do this. So we highly advocate for this. And if we can't do it, then we're not charging for it, but we are charging for pre-production. And that's something that you should consider. I mean, all the time it takes to find, to research, to secure locations, to pull permits, charging for the permits themselves. All that is stuff that you should be charging a client for, not just the time you're actually doing the photo shoot. Because think of this, like we had a photo shoot last night and we shot from, my crew got on site at 5 p.m. We spent 2 hours staging. Then we shot from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. So we spent 3 hours shooting and then another hour breaking down. So what is that? So from 5 to 11 p.m. So 5, that's 6 hours. 6 hours on set. I probably spent 12 hours in the pre-production of this. 12. Twice the amount of time to secure the models, to set up the location, to build the storyboard, to connect with the clothing designers, to arrange for hair and makeup, to build the call sheets, to send out the schedules. All of this took twice as long than it did to actually set up, do the shoot, and break down. And we haven't even counted post-production. So pre-production and post-production is an X numbered factor more than the actual production itself. These are all things that we should be charging for. Speaking of that, talent coordination, this is part of that pre-production. The time you have to spend, like oftentimes we have to cast models for our clients, where we put out the casting call, we accept the submissions, we help cull through all the applicants, and then deliver to the client a short list of who we'd recommend for their project based on the specs of the photo shoot. Well, that's time and energy. And it's something you could be charging for. And if it's something you're really good at doing, that is once again, all of these are value adds to the client. Hey, we can do this for you and help get you great talents for your production. But we are going to charge for that time. If you want to do it, if you want to put out the casting call and you want to get the submissions and you want to do all that, great. Awesome. It's time we do not have to spend doing it. But all the things like scouting and casting models, booking hair and makeup artists, coordinating all the schedules, handling the paperwork, doing the payouts. If they want all the payouts to go through you, which we've had clients do that, where, let's say a client doesn't want to add a dozen vendors to their system and have to manage a dozen payouts. They just want it to go through you as a production company. Because a lot of times, as photographers or video professionals, we are operating as a production company, which means the makeup artists, the models, the stylists, the craft service team, the grips, and all that has to run through you because you're running the production. Well, that time to do all that administrative work is something you should be charging for. You're saving the client a lot of time and energy having to do all these payouts and do all these vendor add-ins. And if you're doing that, charge a fee for that. You're functioning as a producer, and that time should be compensated. Next, equipment rental fee. And this is one that a lot of people don't think about, and one that I hesitated to do for a long time. But here's the reality: your client isn't just hiring you for your expertise, they're also getting access to tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes more, worth of equipment. Just because you own the gear doesn't mean it should be free for those who are hiring you, because otherwise you will never get ahead, because you are always having to purchase new gear because gear breaks or gear wears out or gear is no longer of a standard required within a client's expectations, and thus you are always having to redo your gear. That means you can't get ahead because you're always having to invest thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into new gear every single year. It should not be expected that you have the best gear available to your clients unless they are paying you for that. I mean, the way to get around it is just not to have any gear whatsoever. And then anytime someone hires you, you go and rent the gear and you charge the client for the rental fee. Think of it like that. You are renting or leasing out your gear for the client to have access to this gear on site. And the way we figure that out is we calculate the value of the gear over how long we're going to use that gear versus how many projects we anticipate using that gear for. And we come up with the rental fee. And typically it's about, let's say, 25 to 40% less than what it would cost us to rent it at a rental house, which means we're saving the client money. So if a client has specific requests like, hey, we need this specific type of camera, okay, well, it's going to cost me $500 to rent it from this rental house, or we can use our in-house one for $300. Saves money. The next is multiple rounds of revisions or retouching beyond the scope. Now, this is one that has been added to my contract within the last year. For photography, I added this in years ago. With video, I added in within the last year, where every project has a defined scope and parameter for how much post-production is included in the price that you are charging. So with photography, it's in my contract that basic edits are included, meaning lighting, contrast, sharpness, and color correction or color grading. Okay. Anything beyond that, per my contract, is at my discretion as the creative. And if I have requests that go beyond that scope, I charge an hourly rate for photos. So when a client comes back, because this is why it's been in the contract, because the client will come back with a list of edits that will take way longer to do than we had budgeted or anticipated for that project. And that's time that we're losing doing other work, time we should be paid for. And it has absolutely happened with video, where we would anticipate, you know what, we think we're going to spend 10 hours in this video post production. And then the client has, we've had this 30 hours worth of revisions and changes, which means we lost 20 hours worth of revenue. That's a pretty big hit. So now, like I just got a request this morning to bid out a video edit. I'm not bidding out the final deliverable. I'm bidding out my estimated time to do that deliverable. Meaning they said, hey, can you cut together, I'll just, make something up. Can you cut together a 3-minute sizzle reel? Yes, I can. I'm going to estimate to cut together this 3-minute sizzle reel for the time it takes to cull all the footage, log it all, and cut it all together, mix it to music, go through one round of revisions, and then make the changes. I'm going to estimate that's going to take me 8 hours. Here's the rate for 8 hours. Anything beyond 8 hours, here's my hourly rate beyond that. That's one way you can do it. Or you can say, I'm willing to do 2 rounds of revisions on this. Additional revisions are then billed hourly. So these are just different ways that you could give the client the ability to request more edits, the ability to have more revisions, but without compromising boundaries on your time. The next one is, and this is a great one because it's pure value added. You sell behind the scenes photo and video to your clients. We are often doing this anyway, where we're filming behind the scenes photos or videos and then just delivering it to the client so they can use this content for social media. But that's a lot of value for them. And that's something we could be billing for as an add-on service. Hey, by the way, if you're interested, we can have our grip or our assistant or our second camera operator take a bunch of behind the scenes videos and behind the scenes photos and give you access to those that you can use on social media, you can use on LinkedIn, you can use on Instagram, whatever. This can include on-set candid photos, video clips of the shoot, editing together behind the scenes content that they can use for reels. So we'll even edit it together for you. Like my assistant did this for me internally for a shoot we had last night, and it turned out amazing. Where now I don't have to go through all this stuff on my own and do this. She took a whole bunch of photos and videos and culled together a 45-second reel. Perfect. That is a huge value add. And if I were the client, like, I mean, she's doing this in-house, but if I were the client, absolutely I would see the value in doing something like that. So the bottom line is all these things that we went through adds value to the client, from storing their files for them to creating additional content that they could use in their marketing and in their promotion of their brands, products, or services. All of it adds value. And if it doesn't add value, it's saving you time, or it's extending the ability for a client to use things. Adding value, it's saving time, extending usage. All of these should not just be included in a base price that you're charging for the hours you're on set for a photo shoot. All these are billable services that can increase your bottom line. Let me know if I missed any. Shoot me a comment at jpatrickphoto on Instagram. James Patrick is the website. I think Substack is James Patrick Photography. You can find me on anywhere. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate your 5-star reviews. Appreciate you sharing this podcast with a friend. We'll catch you on the next episode. Take care.